I used to tell myself, I remember growing up, I used to ask myself, this is totally irrelevant to your question, but this is, you're talking about something. I used to ask myself, what's the male equivalent of hijab, you know? Because like women, especially for me as a white guy, if I step outside and I don't have this on or a though, you know, people just assume I'm a white guy. They don't assume I'm Muslim. And a lot of people, they get upset about their Muslim identity. They go out and they're like, oh, you know, I have a beard, I look like this. People assume I'm Muslim, I don't like that, this and that. You know, people are very embarrassed of their beliefs and what people think. But then there's another side of things where imagine, like, you want people to know you're Muslim, but you can't unless you throw on a abaya or something. You know, so I used to always go up like, you know, what's the male equivalent of a hijab? You know, like what, not just like by looks, but like what it does for someone. You know, because hijab has a lot of benefits. I was like, is it the topi? No, I don't think so. It's not really the same. Then I was like, wait a minute, we literally have a hijab for men too. Like, it took me such a long time to. I don't know what I'm venting about. What was your question, sister? It was about role models, right? Okay. I would have to say my biggest role model is my mother. I grew up with a single mother, and she raised me, my sister, from a really young age. A lot of the struggles that she went through as a single mother, as a refugee in America, she had to raise me, my sister, and my grandparents. She was going to school full-time, working full-time, and she was always steadfast on her faith and her religion. And I just, I saw in my life, like, when people ask you, can you prove to me God exists? How do you know God exists? All that stuff. God is in the finer things. He's in so many things in life. And, for me, just witnessing my mom and how she carried herself and what she did, and how in return God just blessed her, just blessings upon blessings for how she trusted in Him. Like, when she first came to the country, she came with a bunch of Bosnian refugees. She was the only hijabi. They were all European, white girls and ladies, whatever, refugees. And, they all, once you get there, you have to apply, find some jobs. They get you guys settled, they help you guys find jobs, all that stuff. And my mom, like, mashallah, she wears, hijab, abaya, proper, everything. And when she was, wearing that and she came to America, all the other Bosnian refugees were like, you're not going to get hired by anybody with that hijab. Like, no one's going to want you because, of how you're dressed and how you look and stuff like that. But, my mom was always like, I'm not doing this for anybody else, I'm doing this for God. And just her attitude towards life, it just really, really impacted me. Because, all of those other Bosnian people, they ended up going and getting really bad jobs, if you could say, jobs that weren't that good. And like, my mom was the only hijabi, but she ended up getting like the best job. And even throughout, like, for example, like, when she went, when she was working in like these major companies, the same issue would always come up with how she was dressed, hijab, her faith. But because of my mom's faith, not just because of the hijab that she wore, because there's a lot of people that wear hijab and they do whatever they want, but she wore the hijab and she also represented her faith in the best way. She had the best character. She always made sure to never cheat anyone, never, like, for example, you go to work, sometimes if you're supposed to be at work from 7 to 5, some people clock out at like 4:50, I think it's 10 minutes left. But my mom was the type, like, I can't cheat 1 minute. 5 o'clock, has to be 5 o'clock, nothing less, I can't, because if I can get away with it with my boss, God knows, And stuff like that always translated in her life. So like, even this one major company, it's a major company, they had a huge building, they had to relocate to a different state. Everyone lost their jobs except for my mom, in the sense that the company felt so bad for her because she was such a good worker that they went out of their way to make sure that she found a job somewhere else before they left, just to make sure she, no issues, subhanAllah. And this is just like a few examples that I'm giving, like, but it was many, many things that I saw her struggle, and I saw her, I saw her faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how much it helped her. She's a very strong woman, a very strong person. Means the world to me, has done so much to me. And that's like my biggest role model, just from what she's taught me, from, like, I memorized the Quran because of her. I would not be here in front of you guys if it wasn't for her forcing me or pushing me to do it when I didn't want to. I'm 9 years old when I had to go memorize the Quran. 9-year-old doesn't know what's good or bad for them. Like, for example, my teacher always gave the example of medicine. When kids are young and you have to give them like medicine and their sick tastes really bad, they don't want it. If it was up to them, they would chuck it, right? But you have to like, force them, like, shove it down their throats, so they, like, it's good for you, but you just don't understand. Sometimes a parent has to do that, and that's alhamdulillah what my mom did. She always wanted what was best for me. She, strived to do the best, And it shows in her life, and alhamdulillah, it shows in my life, and everyone in her life, subhanAllah. So I would, she's my biggest role model. And then, I guess, Quran-wise, my biggest role model, I'm just going to add that in and slip that in there real quick. Quran-wise, my biggest role model is Qari Fatih Seferagic. I don't know why. I grew up listening to him a lot. And I remember when I was young, I used to recite, I would just, recite like a prayer or something. And people would come up to me and they'd be like, you sound like that one Shaykh Hafasi. I'm like, really? That's my idol, I'm like, really? And then over the years, like, I don't know if I intentionally listened to him to like sound like or try to imitate him when I was younger. But then eventually, I guess I just really started to like him because of what people were saying, and I started really trying to imitate him and stuff like that. And just, it's also, subhanAllah, the way I grew up, because just irrelevant to role models, but when people try to imitate shuyukh and stuff like that, I usually advise them to stay in their lane. What do I mean by staying in your lane? It means like, some shuyukh have deep voices, right? Like Afasi is a deep voice. Some people, you meet them, they have very, like, some brothers you meet, very feminine, mashallah, So like, I tell the brothers, like, if you have a very soft voice, go listen to a shaykh that has a very soft voice, so you can imitate him, and not just, there's a difference between imitating someone in their style, and there's a difference between imitating someone in their style and their voice. You know what I mean? So if you guys know Saad Mamani, right? Qari Fatih Seferagic, if you guys have ever heard him here in the UK, not only can he imitate Sudais' style, but when he goes, he switches it on, he sounds just like the guy, right? But a lot of people can imitate the style of Shaykh Sudais, while not many people can sound like Shaykh Sudais, right? So whoever your role model is, make sure it's someone that you can actually, not just, ideally not someone that you can just, follow their style or be in their style, but also maybe sound like them and build on their style with the voice and everything like that. Hope I added some extra. I'm myself, or I'm a regular person. The bar was set this high, I'm a sheikh, and then they meet me and I'm a regular guy, and it's like, whoa. I'm like, being yourself becomes so bad because it's like the standard and expectation that people have for you is really high. But inshallah, I do want to become an imam. Part of my life now, part of my goals is that I really, really would love to not just become an imam, but a scholar of Islam. There's a difference between studying for 4 years and just becoming an imam at your local masjid, and then there's a difference between being a scholar of Islam and spending your entire life studying the religion, inshallah. So I would like to do that, but I wouldn't say I'm an imam now. And to answer your question, I guess I talk a lot, I know. But answer your question, what inspired me to be an imam now, because you can say, well, now you want to be an imam, what inspired you? So before you ask me what it is. SubhanAllah, just this traveling, having the Quran be such a big part of my life, seeing the impact it has on you guys, Muslims, non-Muslims, legitimately there's, alhamdulillah, I have the blessing where if I meet a non-Muslim and I want to give da'wah, if I want to convince them about Islam being the right religion, these days, all I really say is like, look, I'll tell someone, alright, just give me 3 minutes, I'm going to recite something, if you feel anything in your heart, any type of way, whatever, that's it, if not, that's it. Like, that's all I have to do, and I move on. I don't have to sit there and be like, hey, have all these discussions about, does God exist, where is he from, all this like extra headache stuff. I just go, alright, can you give me 3 minutes? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Oh, mashallah. And people, I've seen non-Muslims, people who've never heard the Quran, they didn't say mashallah, actually, I don't know. But non-Muslims, and subhanAllah, you recite the Quran, you guys underestimate, like, how many people have not heard the Quran ever. Not one time. Not one time. They might have argued with some of you about different kinds of things a million times, and it got nowhere. But not one time have they actually sat and listened to the Quran. Forget reading and understanding the Quran, which is even more powerful, but just listening to the Quran. There's times where I've just recited for a non-Muslim, and they just like cry. I remember this one old lady just hugged me. She was hugging me, thank you. Like, this is her first time reading the Quran. She's old, and she's listening to it, and she can't, all she can say at the end is thank you. Like, that's the effect that subhanAllah the Quran has. We have such an amazing tool at our disposal, but everyone wants to get into the little nitty-gritty arguments and debates of who's intellectually smarter. Like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the Quran as our miracle, as our way of spreading Islam. In every way, in its meaning, in its sound, in every single possible way, but we always try to find our own ways to, spread Islam. So because of the impact that I've seen the Quran have on me and everyone around me, this is just, it just got to a point where I'm like, you know, I just want to do more. I want to be able to understand the Quran. I want to be able to completely explain it to someone. If someone asks me, what's this mean, what's that, whatever, I want to be able to help everyone and anyone see the beauty of Islam. Because if you're Muslim, you, inshallah, I hope, you guys have a sakina in your heart. There's this peace in your heart that comes from being Muslim. There's this like general happiness. Like no matter what happens, when you're Muslim, at the end of the day, you're generally happy, right? Like you can be sad for a day or two because of something, but overall you're happy when you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you have Islam. And when you look and if you really see the world today, there's a lot of sadness in the world today. There's a lot of grief and sadness and just people are lost. So when you have something so amazing, something that gives you so much happiness in life, why wouldn't you want to share it in the best way that you possibly can? That's where I'm at.
And one last question. Alhamdulillah, I follow your Facebook page. I advise all of you to follow his Facebook page.
Shout out.
Pay me for that. Okay, so through social media, do you give advice to people on general issues like family issues, marriage issues, etc.?
No, yeah, especially not because I'd like to stay away from, like, if someone has any questions, I'd rather they ask. First of all, the internet is full of trolls and people that you don't know who to take seriously and who not to take seriously. You know, you can sit there and you can get this like heartful message of someone asking for advice, and it's really some guy in like Australia just trolling you, like laughing at, you know, you never really know. And subhanAllah, there are some people that need sincere advice, but you know, I remember, and you can't respond to everyone, and when you do, I usually tell people the best way to understand someone, connect to them, and give them advice is to see them in person, talk to them in person, feel their vibe, see what they're, talk to them, and you know, have that real life human connection. You know, it's different if I've met you and I know you and then you ask me for advice online. If I don't even know you or whether you're real or not or who you are, what's going on, it's really hard for me to give you some advice that's good for you, because advice is one of those things that it's different for everyone. It's unique to every single person. You know, everyone has their own issues and everyone has a unique solution for their issues, you know? And online, it's very difficult to do that, and I don't really entertain it. And the main reason I don't do it is because I just don't have the knowledge. Like, I am very scared. Like if someone messages, I don't want to be like held accountable. Not even on the day of judgment, it's scary, but not even here. Like I don't want you to, like I answer something because I think it's right or wrong without the proper knowledge. And next thing you know, viral video on YouTube, Qari Fatih said, oh my God, and I'm like, oh man, like this is, I just stay away from all of that, you know? And even in person, when people ask me for advice, I'm not ashamed. Like I have to always tell that to people. I'm not like, I'm just, sometimes I might have some words of wisdom to offer, sometimes I might not, you know? And when you tell people, like someone will come, subhanAllah, think about this from my perspective, guys, okay? I started doing this when I was like 14, 15, okay? I'm 15, 16 years old, and I'm still figuring life out. I don't know what's going on with my own life. I'm at the masjid, I'm 15 or 16, and I remember this very clearly. I gave a talk at a masjid, and I always hated giving talks too because I could never go somewhere and just recite Quran and like leave. Like that's what I could do. But you know, people always like, oh, come recite Quran and give an hour lecture. I'm like, hour lecture? I'm not no Manali Khan. Like, I don't have this stuff here where I can just lecture. You know, like if I give a talk, like for example, if I give a khutbah or something, I have to go sit down and study something or watch a video, take notes on it, and just share it with you. That's all I'm doing. But I don't have the knowledge, right? So see it from my position. I'm 15, 16, I'm young, I'm still trying to figure out my life. I remember I had this one kid come up to me, right? And he's like 10, 11 years old, and he's like, I'm struggling with pornography, what do I do? And I'm like, I didn't know what to tell the kid. I'm 15 myself, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. But then, the same night, I have another father come up to me, and this guy, his son is older than me. His son is like 21 or 22. Right? He has like 2 sons. He comes up to me, he's like, my sons are disobedient to me, they won't listen to me. How do I, you know, how do I father my sons, basically? I'm like, Habibi, your son is older than me. What can I tell you? I don't know what to, like, how am I supposed to tell you how to manage your children at home and stuff like that, you know? So there was that whole concept of people, it's not just, I don't like to give advice, but people also need to, on their end, they need to understand who to go to advice for. Like, I suggest this for you guys too. Don't just because someone's well-known or they're a name or something, doesn't make them qualified to give you life advice and tell you what to do with yourself and your family. That's what real scholars are for, that's what sheikhs are for, that's what imams are for at the masjid. They're there for a reason. They have office hours, they have things to help you. You don't just go to someone because people know them and assume automatically they know how to fix your life and everyone else is, you know. So that's something I've had to struggle with too.
Okay, Jazakallah, thank you. We're going to close it up now, so could you pray the Ilaha for us, please?
The what?
Surah Quraysh.
Surah Quraysh?
Yeah, and then we're going to get everybody to move the chairs and pray Maghrib, because I think you have to be in Cardiff by 11, so... Jazakallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم